How do you take your business to the next level after having some success? Well, I'm with Noah Escobar. Today we're going to talk about the 5 different types of video that he's using in his business to make sure his business continues to grow. All right, so today I'm with Noah Escobar, and Noah, one of the things I wanted to talk about is obviously you had a big first year, first full year in business, over $16 million worth of pending contracts and closed contracts in that first year as a 23-year-old. So now what do? We want to avoid the sophomore slump, so to speak. So what we want to do is we want to continue to build on that growth, and some of that comes back to investing in your business. Let's talk about what it is that you're thinking about that will help you now and going into the future.
Yeah, I think the biggest shift that I've seen going to conferences or even us talking is a shift to video. And I think video is a way to do passive prospecting. So throughout my day, I'll prospect through calls, circle prospecting, and then passive prospects when I'm not working, when I'm at home, whether I'm sleeping. That's working for me at the same time. So there's a series of different videos that I've been creating that I've seen the watch time increase to some in excess of 500 minutes in the first 48 hours to kind of get people to call me. So not only am I doing outbound calls, I'm doing inbound calls as well.
Yeah, this is something we always talk about, that as top producing agents, we want to be attracting business instead of chasing it, and nothing does that better than video. And specifically now we're seeing that this video compounds over time. You want to speak to the consistency and what you're trying to do there? Yeah,
I think the biggest thing is I'm trying to do 1 or 2 a week. Try not to do a point where I exhaust myself. Like you can't do an open house for every day, every single day, So the biggest thing with me is I'm trying to do 1 or 2 a week, and I now have about 5 that I kind of vary between and make sure I kind of do those 5 and repeat those 5. And it comes to the point where if I do an infrastructure update 1 month, I do the next set of 5 and it's there the next month. So I can repeatedly do those pretty consistently.
Yeah, I think sometimes that's a key point is that we try to stay a little bit ahead also, because the stress comes when you don't have something ready and you know that, I need to be posting. And so having a goal, just like anything else, having a goal of what it is, a lot of times I would say even if your goal is 1 a month, if it's 1 every 2 weeks, whatever it is, set a goal, go ahead and get some things in the can, so to speak, that are already done, so you've got a little bit of running room in case life happens or you get busy or whatever. And then have that consistency. Let's talk a little bit about kind of some of the reasons why. I want to kind of shed a light on this also, and the reason why video is so important to everybody's business. One thing is to understand that it works while you sleep. You mentioned 500 minutes of watch time in the first 24 hours. What does that look like, and what does that mean to you?
Yeah, so I posted a video, it was an infrastructure update about 30A's newest developments and condos, something I do once a month. So the people that we live in a very secondary market, second, third, fourth home. So what can I do to give the most value to those people when they're not here? So cover a lot of development. So every time they come here, they're like, oh, that condo is this, or this new piece of dirt is gonna be this. And I posted that and nobody else is doing it. And within the first 48 hours, we had about 500 minutes of watch time, meaning that I scheduled everything. So I scripted it, shot it, published it, and then from the time I published it, 48 hours later, there was 500 minutes of watch time. And that led to just different conversations, because those different developments can be future inventory. So I had people reaching out to me asking about what those different things were going to be.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is to understand, as you did that was in the first 48 hours, but this is not something where it's like a post on social media. The second you post it,
doesn't disappear.
It's going to disappear. This video is going to continue, especially if you do some of the specific things that we're going to talk about here. So really, it seems like you mentioned that you're doing 5 different types of videos. Let's start with one of the 4 first foundation, and we're going to go through each of these 5 so that whoever's watching can maybe replicate some of this or put their own spin on it, so to speak. What is one of the first places that you start with?
So the first one I'm doing are community videos. I'm targeting communities that I really want to work in and even strive to work in, and making content surrounding that. So using TubeBuddy and using some of the shortcuts that we have through YouTube, and kind of tagging these, so the people that are looking for wild heron over in Panama City, tagging those where it's wild heron real estate, and creating content surrounding that. So when people look at those specific terms, they're seeing me as the market expert. So I'm going around picking out my favorite communities, my favorite condos, and picking out different things. The general structure of this is, of course, to have a good hook. I think too, if you draw people in, you have the first 5 to 10 seconds to draw somebody in to watch, hopefully a 2-minute video. So going from there into a general introduction of a neighborhood or a condo, talking about, hey, this is how big the overall community is, here's how many units it is, kind of give a general overview so people know actually what you're talking about, location, going straight into some of the amenities. Because I think when people are looking for a neighborhood or condos, they want to know what's associated with that condo and where some of the value lies. And it's talking about the amenities, and if I have the opportunity to kind of talk about a specific unit or a house that we can get inside, show off the different characteristics in terms of views, in our coastal market, Gulf views, or just even giving a perspective of the craftsmanship, that people build in there.
Yeah, I'll tell you one of the things too that's kind of key on this, and it's just smart when you're doing the community videos. If you're going to be farming a neighborhood, or you want to be known as the expert in there, you want to be ahead of search, because a lot of times what people are doing, understanding that Google is the #1 search engine, YouTube being owned by Google is the #2 search engine, people are going on YouTube to find information.
Right.
So what is it they're going to type in, because that's what you want to do when you're thinking about your title. TubeBuddy, you mentioned, helps that, but we want to have a title that when people search for something, it's going to pop right up. A couple other little tips that you're doing and that we've done over the years is, as you mentioned, keeping it about 2 minutes. Part of the reason for that is people's attention span is only so long, but what we want to do is we want to have a video, because the way YouTube really kind of judges whether a video is effective or not is it comes in and it says, what is the percentage of watch time?
Exactly.
So if you're doing this and you're leading with a hook with some really nice drone footage at the beginning, or whatever it is that you're doing to highlight some amenities, you can keep people for a while. And once you kind of hit that 30 to 35%, that's what I found. Once we get over 35% of watch time on a video, that's something that YouTube really likes a lot. So when you're thinking about it, we've got the title covered, because we're going to think of using some of the terms that people are going to search for, so that we can help there.
And one thing with the title is that I'm putting into ChatGPT my entire description and my bullet points I use for a script, and saying, hey, make me an optimized using SEO keywords to make me the best title possible.
Yes.
And that's been huge.
Yeah, and that's going to get you that opportunity, really. And then also, when you're talking about when it's giving you a script, or you're going through those things and you're writing that script and you're shooting the video to that script, we want to take the exact things you say on the video and put that as your description. And the reason why is because YouTube's looking for clarity. They want to put this in front of the people who are going to watch it the longest time. So by having it where they listen to it and then it matches up with the description, there's complete clarity with who this is for and what those, especially if you're using the SEO optimized terms. In these cases, we're seeing that we can move to #1 on search for these neighborhoods, for these condos, for these developments, literally within hours in many cases. And that gets us the ability to continue to get some of those views going forward. So those are some great things. Hey, one thing that we didn't talk about a little bit earlier also is, listen, your background. You started as an intern shooting video for me, but you understand, and your businesses continue to grow, that in reality, yes, you can do the videos, but you have the ability possibly to farm some of that out because your time's better. You want to speak to that and what you're doing.
Yeah, so after last year, 2022, as how to market, everybody made a decent amount of money. So instead of spending a lot of that money, kind of reinvested back into having a media company as a third party, including my business. And both of them handle all my video shooting and the editing. So I kind of focus on the scripting, meeting him out there, he shoots everything and then he edits it. So I took that burden off of myself. But at the same time, that freed up a lot of time to do more videos on my side. So I pay him to do 3 videos for me a month. I do 3 videos for myself, and that's 6 videos in a month.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And think of it this way, if you're thinking about an investment in your business on marketing side, it used to be, well, we would run newspaper ads, or you would run these different social media type post ads. The problem is that once those are done, they're done. That money's spent. This money with these videos continues to give you value and continues to do marketing for years and years to come. We've done one that Tim did with me that we actually did 3 years ago, and still getting 100+ views per week. So it's just constantly out there working, doing these things. All right, so we talked about the community videos. That leads us right into the community videos. Let's talk a little bit about the infrastructure videos that you talked about a little bit earlier.
Yeah, the infrastructure updates were something that I just ripped from our broker that was doing during the pandemic. We had so much of a boom of development in our area. He kind of went through and sourced everything out through the permitting and building department of our county, and sourced out what's coming to the area, and then shot drone shots around that. Built a script out, and so basically the format of this is an intro, a voiceover based on all the different developments with drone photos and videos, and then go right into an outro. So I kind of took that same thing and applied it to different areas I knew had the biggest growth coming in. And so the last one I did was on Highway 79. So if you fly into our local airport down to 38 where our market is, that development's always building and growing. So I sent that out to a bunch of my clients and said, hey, here's everything that's coming to the area. So next time you come down, you know exactly what's going on. And adding that value to them hopefully makes them not only an informed client, but an informed investor at the same time.
Yeah, and another thing it does is we're always looking for that authority.
Yeah.
So if these are new subdivisions being developed or new developments or new phases in developments, by you being the first to post video, especially when it's SEO optimized, it gives you a little bit more of that Google juice, I guess you could say, to be known as that expert there. And it lifts that up in there. And if you're following up with content as it continues to grow, then all of a sudden now you've got this library to be a resource for that specific community. All right, so we talked about the community videos, we talked about the infrastructure updates, and by the way, if you're wanting to see any of these videos, if you go down below in the description below, we'll have these links to some of these examples that Noah's doing so that you can see exactly how he's doing those. But all right, let's talk about what's next as far as the type of videos you're using.
So my third video that I'm kind of incorporating is kind of a combination of the infrastructure update and the community videos. So we kind of build our communities out in phases. So I'll use Watersound Origins because it's my latest video I did. It's 1,400 acres on the north side of Santa Rosa Beach, and they pocket everything into phases with different builders. So what I did was I went to one of their new phase called the Pines with Romare and Huff builders. Kind of talked about what they offer in that specific community and some of the amenities coming. Because I kind of see all that dirt as future inventory. And from that perspective, I can kind of get back to our brokerage and put them in contact with the new homes sales that we have there to handle that transaction. So it's just a great point to be at the top of the funnel and get someone from point A to point B and connection with the right people. And we have the best people here, so that makes things easy.
It really does give you the ability, like we were talking about, to be first also. And you don't realize how many people, I know that you had sent this to one of our mutual friends who had a house being built just last night on that one. And he's like, hey, I spotted my house there. And now they've got almost this documentation of how the subdivision in their house was built out as you're doing more of these, plus you're first there, plus it gives you the ability to have that little extra juice on the front end. And as you're doing these different places, you're giving information that not only potential buyers, but people in the community are just interested in. So it makes a lot of sense. All right, so we started with community videos, we talked about infrastructure, then we talked about specific neighborhoods. The core of this business is marketing listings. Let's talk about some of the listing videos you're doing.
So like every other agent, I watched HGTV growing up, and it kind of sparked the interest in real estate. And kind of learning how to create this perception of my own listings and kind of create a vision allowed me to market properties a lot better. And a lot of my clients to see, hey, this is the way we're marketing it. And a lot of this is tailored based on theirs, like what do you like most about your property? And using what they like to tailor it into the video and show off the amenities they like, show off the parts of the houses they like. Because chances are someone that's gonna buy that house is gonna like exactly what they like too. And the listing tours allow someone to see myself too. Because a lot of the times when we post everything through our MLS, it gets syndicated throughout 50 different websites. And half the times they have my phone number there. So what I do is I take these videos and put it on my YouTube channel. A lot of times I show it to my clients, they can share it with their friends. But by putting it on YouTube and having my contact information there, it makes things a lot easier for people to call me. Because they already hear my voice, they know what I look like, they know the property itself. So a lot of those times, instead of a cold lead, they're a warm lead pretty much ready to go when they see that.
Yeah, and I think what you don't realize yet is the value of doing these where other people that are getting ready to list their house to begin to see a lot of these videos. And it just compounds over time as we've seen that, our buddy Brad McCallum's made his living doing this and doing these exciting, really home tour videos. And so consequently, as we go forward, I think there's going to be more and more value there. The other thing is this is something where as you go into a listing appointment, having the ability to go in there and actually show someone that listing. I know that our mutual friend Andrew Undum does this, where he'll go into the listing appointment and he'll say, hey, let me just kind of show you how we market the properties, and he presses play, and it's just boom, it's this opportunity for him to set himself apart. So this is something really that I would encourage people to do if you haven't done this, if you have a YouTube channel, is to have a playlist. And the reason being is the playlist is where you can categorize the different types of videos that you've got there. So if you've got a group of listing videos, the person who watches one, odds are they're going to want to watch another one. And so what happens with the playlist oftentimes is it will automatically loop to the next video. So I don't know if you've ever done this before, but I'll go and I'll be watching a video, or I'll turn the sound down to answer a phone and I'll forget it. And if it's in a playlist and it's looping, all those views are happening constantly until I realize it. So it gives the ability to get some additional views there as well. So I would encourage you, utilize the playlist. Also, utilize, and we've got another video, I'll just put a link up top if you'd like. You can hear how Andrew Undum is using this. He's spending, and he's getting somewhere in the neighborhood for a couple $300. He's getting 30,000 views on some of these. So there are ways that you can absolutely go in and you can utilize this. I know Tim's done this with some of our folks in our company where we're doing these and we're getting, for $100, we're getting 8,000 to 10,000 views on these videos by targeting people in specific areas. So just community videos is another way to do this, but really when you're talking about the single family homes, being able to impress your seller with something you can do, as well as hopefully get this house sold.
I think a big part part of it is people can show their personality off too. Like you mentioned two big personalities, Brad and Andrew. You know, Brad has a sense of energy that I just don't have. Right. You know, I'm not sure what he's taking caffeine or what he's doing, but he speaks elegantly too. Like the way he communicates is so well done. And then Andrew just has a way with, I mean, he was doing on-site sales for 9 years. You know, he knows how to talk to people effectively. And so you kind of show your personality, and it's a killer thing to bring into a listing presentation. It's your resume. Yeah. You know, and people like to see, what is it they say? Your vibe attracts your tribe. And so with those two guys, their followings are set because, you know, people like their personalities in that way. And this is probably one of the best ways to show this.
Hey, and let me just say this, whether it's you at 23 or whether it's you that's never shot video before, give yourself some grace. I promise you, Andrew's first video did not look like these do now. My first video did not look like it does now. Brad's the same way. I promise you, all of these folks that you're seeing, don't judge your book when you're in chapter 1 and they're in chapter 22. Make sure that you give yourself some grace. Go out there, find your own personality, because ultimately, you're right, your vibe does attract your tribe. So we've talked about 4 different ones. Let's wrap this up. What's another one that you do?
Yeah, so in about an hour or 2, we're actually going to interview a builder. And so if you watched the last video that we did, the last interview, the main part of how I built my business was selling a lot, connecting with a builder, and selling the specs. And that, you know, that's you getting paid 3 different times. So by interviewing different builders, I can start to send those out to clients and connect them with the people that would serve them best. You know, it's like if we have a listing in Navarre, chances are I won't take it. I'll find someone in that market that knows it best. Whether that's a second home, a spec, finding them the right builder. And a lot of times, a lot of these builders don't have social media. So not only are we trying to create these videos to help them bring their presence, but I can use this to get people connected, because at the end of the day, you have to trust somebody if they're gonna build $1 million house for you.
Absolutely.
So by doing these interviews and kind of giving them a better perspective of past specs or current projects, kind of allows them to pick a person that would work best for them.
Yeah, and this is a great way also to add some of the understanding of you as the resource by providing this and giving, you know, it's all that goes back to that. If you're out there and you're trying to add value to other people, I mean, by doing this, you're helping this builder. But ultimately, by you being able to be with a builder that's been in this market for 20 plus years, that has got a great reputation, it just only helps your reputation and gives you the ability to kind of rub off on a little bit of that, what they've already done and what they've already earned as far as people trusting them in the market.
And I want to be that guy where if someone calls them, hey, I want to build a spec, I don't have a lot yet, I want to be the one that finds them a lot. So by adding value in that way, hopefully it comes back and adds value to me, not only to my clients, but to me to help them find a lot as well. Yeah, and ultimately, all video is about who is the ideal client, who is it that wants to see the content, and how do you give it to them in a way they want to receive it? Because when you're doing those things, I promise you, the video views will go up, you'll see your following grow, and ultimately you'll see your business grow. No, this is good stuff. I'll be excited to see where this goes. I mentioned a little bit earlier, but down below in the comment section, if you want to see some examples of each of these videos, feel free to do so. Let no one know how much you appreciate it, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching the video. I specifically chose the video below for you because it builds on the one you just watched. I hope it's helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.